If you want people to respect you, don't ask. Don't chase. Don't beg. Just become the kind of person who doesn't need to. Because real respect is silent, but when it arrives, it's thunderous. We live in a world obsessed with noise, shouting, posting, performing. People scream for attention. They plead for validation with every filtered photo, every over-explained opinion, every desperate attempt to prove they matter. But here's the hard truth most men never learn. Respect cannot be demanded. It cannot be hunted. It is given, quietly, effortlessly, to those who embody it. It's not something you announce. It's not something you earn by talking louder or moving faster. Real respect is not transactional. It's magnetic. People are drawn to it, not because you ask, but because you exude it. And most men? They spend their entire lives chasing something they could have built, if only they understood the rules of the game. They confuse attention for respect. They confuse noise for strength. They think if they shout loud enough, the world will finally hear them. But the truth is, the louder you become, the more invisible you seem. Because true respect lives in silence, and silence is terrifying to those who haven't mastered themselves. If you want to be the kind of person others respect instantly, without you ever having to say a word, you don't need to beg, flatter, or conform. You need to do 4 things. And if you do them consistently, the way people look at you will change, permanently. Let's begin with the first. 1. Master the art of restraint. Weak men leak. They leak emotions. They leak words. They spill everything like a bucket with no bottom, hoping someone will catch the pieces and make them whole. They argue with everyone. They explain themselves to anyone who will listen. They need to be seen. They need to be understood. They are addicted to being right. But here's what they never learn. The more you explain yourself, the less power you have. Marcus Aurelius, Stoic emperor and battle-tested philosopher, wrote, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." Let that sink in. He didn't say, talk about being good. He didn't say, convince others you're right. He said, be one. Do not argue your worth. Do not explain your value. Do not shout to be seen. Because when your actions speak, your words can remain silent. In fact, silence becomes your most powerful tool. Because people don't trust what they hear. They trust what they feel. And the man who doesn't flinch, doesn't chase, doesn't need to prove anything, that man makes everyone else question their own stability. The world will see your restraint as strength, because it is. Imagine this. You're in a room full of men arguing over opinions. Everyone is interrupting. Everyone is performing. But you stay calm. You listen. You smile. Maybe you say nothing. And when you finally speak, everyone listens. That's not magic. That's discipline. Because the man who controls his tongue controls his world. And when you master restraint, you become unpredictable, unshakable. People respect what they cannot manipulate. And no one can manipulate a man who speaks with purpose, or not at all. 2. Say no without apology. Most men are addicted to saying yes. Yes to overtime. Yes to favors they hate. Yes to social gatherings that drain them. Yes to people who don't respect them, just to avoid discomfort. They say yes, not because they want to. They say it because they fear rejection. They want to be liked more than they want to be free. But there's one kind of man who doesn't live like this. He says no, not angrily, not loudly, just firmly. He doesn't explain. He doesn't apologize. He just decides and moves on. And do you know what happens when a man like that speaks? People respect him instantly, because they know, they feel, he is not for sale. Epictetus, another great Stoic, said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Every time you say no to something that drains you, something that weakens you, something that steals your energy or dignity, you are building a wall around your inner kingdom. Brick by brick, boundary by boundary. And here's the thing about boundaries, they don't push people away. They filter out the ones who don't deserve to stay. The man who cannot be bent cannot be broken. The one who can say no without flinching is not being rude, he's being sovereign. Think about it. What's more powerful? Someone who agrees to everything and disappears into the crowd? Or the one who walks away, calmly, from anything that does not serve his mission? People feel that power. They may not always like it, but they always respect it. 3. Carry your suffering without complaint. Pain is inevitable, but how you carry it, that's what defines you. Most men break at the first sign of discomfort. They cry out. They want sympathy. They want someone to tell them it's not their fault. They wear their suffering like a costume, hoping someone will say, "You're so brave." But the truth? The more loudly you suffer, the less seriously people take your strength. Now picture this. Two men go through the same hardship. One complains to everyone who will listen. The other just works. Quietly. He doesn't post about his struggle. He doesn't use pain as currency. He endures. And then one day, he emerges, stronger, clearer, more focused than ever. Which of the two do you respect more? The one who told you about every wound, or the one who showed you how to survive without showing you the scars? Seneca wrote, "A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials." Pain reveals who you really are. And when you learn to carry it without complaint, without needing the world to validate it, you transform it. You make your suffering sacred. You become a living example of grace under fire. And that is unforgettable. Respect is not loud. Respect is not attention. Respect is not about being liked. It is about quiet power. It is about the man who does not react, does not bend, and does not need the approval of the crowd to know who he is. And once you learn to master restraint, say no with confidence, and carry your pain with dignity, you begin to radiate a different kind of energy. The kind of energy that cannot be ignored. The kind that makes people stand a little straighter when you enter the room. The kind that says, without a single word, "I know who I am, and I don't need you to understand it, but there's still one final piece to the puzzle." Because silent strength, without one essential element, can quickly turn into isolation or coldness. So how do you balance it all? What's the final ingredient that turns silent power into true presence? Let's explore that in the next chapter. And if you truly desire to be respected, remember this. Silent strength isn't just about composure, it's about the discipline forged in the shadows. When no one's watching, no gem ever shines without being polished. No man becomes formidable without trials that push him to his edge. Friction creates clarity. Adversity shapes resilience. Without pain, there is no growth. Without the journey, there is no man. And just like that, if you truly want respect, don't chase the spotlight. Let yourself be sharpened in silence. In today's world, where everyone is scrambling to be seen, to be liked, to be validated, be the one who walks the opposite direction. Step out of the race. Because nearly everything people do nowadays, the words they say, the choices they make, or really silent pleas to be noticed. They may never say it, but behind every performance lies a whisper. Please see me. Please like me. Please accept me. That's not strength. That's insecurity in disguise. And that's why so many people are overlooked. The man who needs no validation commands the highest form of respect. He doesn't chase applause. He doesn't seek reassurance. He doesn't need the world's permission to be himself. In fact, the less he demands attention, the more attention he draws. The less he tries to be understood, the more people crave to understand him. That's not contradiction. That's magnetism. Epictetus once said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." It may sound harsh, but it's true. You cannot grow and be admired at the same time. You can't chase mastery and popularity simultaneously. One road requires solitude, discipline, and internal clarity. The other demands you perform endlessly for other people's approval. Which one are you walking? We don't build ourselves to receive applause. We build ourselves for mastery. Because mastery doesn't beg for attention. It doesn't need an introduction. It speaks for itself. And you, yes, you, should sharpen your craft in the shadows. Let your work speak long before your mouth ever does. Because if all you seek is recognition, you'll have to shout louder than everyone else. But if all you seek is mastery, you'll only need to whisper. And when your actions are undeniable, the world will notice, not because you asked them to, but because they can't ignore it. Let your results, your discipline, your precision, do the talking. And when you chase only mastery, not recognition, something strange happens. The world goes quiet. People begin to pay attention. They may not comment, they may not compliment, but they will respect you for what cannot be denied. Respect cannot be taken. It cannot be demanded. It must be earned. And it is earned through silence, discipline, mastery of self. Most people will never get this. Most will waste their lives in a race to win other people's opinions. They will live as a copy, never as an original, always trying to say the right thing, to be acceptable, to stay in everyone's good graces. They will live to perform. And they will die without ever having truly lived. But a few, a rare few, will choose differently. They will choose to become undeniable, not by being the loudest, not by being the most liked, but by becoming the kind of man whose presence alone makes people straighten up. The kind of man who doesn't need a spotlight because he's become a light himself. And if you're still reading, you already know. You're not like most people. You're here for more. So don't chase respect. Become the kind of man who commands it. And if this message resonated with something deep inside you, don't just nod. Don't just agree. Act. Not for the algorithm, not for the likes, but for your own evolution. Train in silence, suffer without complaint, and rise without needing to be seen. Because we rise in silence, we suffer without complaint, and we become untouchable.